Hello and welcome to Boom and Crash Expert Advisor. Sorry, I had some challenges with my internet connection and we are back. Advisor. Alright, welcome. If you are here, kindly drop a hi in the chat box. Hello and welcome to Boom and Crash Expert Advisor. Today I'll be sharing with you the appropriate lot sizes or the best lot sizes and the varying account balances you should trade with, and also the maximum running trades that should be running per time. Now this is for your safety and this is solely for Boom and Crash. I hope you had a good trading day. Kindly drop a hi if you are watching. Drop a hi in the chat box. Let's get personal. Let's get talking. Let's interact one-on-one. Any challenges, anything you want me to address in this live stream, let me know. Alright, thank you for being here. Hold on. Okay, so let's take a look at the market. I hope you had a good trading day. Let's look at it from H1. For me, I like to observe the market from H1 because I feel like it gives you a more accurate view of the market. Yes, and I mean, if you want to scalp, M1 is the best. M1, M5. Now I added M2. Let me move to the current time frame. I added M2. So this is how M2 looks like. So if you want to add M2 or other odd minutes, you can right click and then customize, and then you can either remove. So these are the ones that we have. The selected buttons here are the ones we have, so you can actually click on 2 minutes and then remove, so you're left with 1 minute, 5 and 15. If you want to add 4 minutes, you insert, and then 4 minutes is added to the selected button. So I'll remove this and then I'll close, so we come back to our normal M1, M5 and all that. Yes, Nasib, this is live. You're welcome. This is live. This is the current market. This is the current movement of the market. If you check your phone right now, you find out that this is live. So we are trying to analyze the market and try and predict where it's going to head. Okay. Now it looks like Boom 500 is going to trend downward for a while. Now I'm looking at it from H1. Let's consider H4. Because sometimes, now these are the time frames I use. If I want to scalp for a long period of time, I look at H4, H1, then M30. So after I've looked at H4, H1, M30, then I come to look at M1. And if I want to just catch a single spike and I'm okay, then I go for M1. Okay, Nasib says on Boom 1000 you can see there is a breakout and a divergence as well on H1 time frame, what would you advise? Boom 1000. Let's check boom 1000. Boom 1000. Okay, what time frame are you using? Are you using H1? Are you using H4? And what indicator are you using to conclude a divergence? Are you looking at RSI, stochastic? If I'm right, is this what we are talking about? This breakout at this point where I've placed my text. H1, okay, H1. Am I right? Am I showing what you are trying to describe? This breakout. You're looking at the RSI. Okay, so I'll insert oscillator RSI 14 period. Is it 14 period? Okay, so we are seeing this here, and then we are seeing this there, this divergence, right? So you are seeing a downward trend. Nasib, am I right? Yes. Okay. All right. So I'll zoom out. All right. So this is a divergence. Okay. So we need to find where price is coming from. Okay. Now price is coming from a very high range. It's coming from the top. So usually I'll switch to H4 to confirm. For H4, I see this. Even though there's a divergence here, my focus is not just going to be here. My focus is going to come from far behind, because I always say that in order to know where price is going to move, you need to know where price is coming from. So I'm going to draw this. Okay, and then you see that from H4, boom 1000 is going to trend downward for a while. So if I switch back to H1 and I move to my current time frame, you see that there is a resistance being avoided here, and there's a slight consolidation at this point. So there's a range in here. There's a range in here. So now you are going to check. When you look at this closely, you realize that with our divergence and with our H4 downward trend, we meet a point, the point of the triangle here. So this is the point. So you see how I'm analyzing the market. We have a divergence, and then we have a downward slope from H4, and there's a point here. So from here, you are going to look at where the candlesticks are going to break the line. Either the candlesticks break the H4 downward trend, or the candlesticks break the divergence line, which is sloping upward. So if it breaks here, if it breaks it downward, then it's going to go down. But if it breaks the one above here, it's going to go up. Please, does it make sense? Now this is H1. We have to wait for about 2 more hours to confirm a break. Here. So wait for about 2 more hours. When the candle, after the, this current candle is still, hanging on our line. So we need a new candle to form below this line, and then the next candle to open below this line. When it opens, then we are sure that this line is broken, then we can sell. Exactly, the market has to break out of the triangle, else we cannot confirm. We will be trading by luck. But I feel like this is gonna go down. Now this is why I feel it's gonna go down. This is my feeling, or this is my insight. Now you see there's a bounce off here, there's a support bounce here, there's a support bounce here again. So we have point A, then we have point B, then we have point C, then we have point D. Good. Instead of the market, now this is what happens. The candlesticks go up, they come down, go up, come down, go up, come down, go up, come down. But this time they don't go up, they range. Instead of going up, they range. So there's a higher possibility that this is going to break this divergence line and trend downward. All right. So when it trends downward, it confirms with our H4, which is telling us that the price is going to bounce off from a resistance. Bounce off. Yes, you're welcome. All right, sure. You can take an entry, but always remember, apply good risk management. And actually, Boom 1000 has been trending down for a long time. Sometimes the trends are so long they become annoying. Like Crash 1000 has been trending upward for a very, very, very long time. I mean Crash 1000. Yes, Crash 1000. And this is what's happening here. This is what's happening here. There's a huge gap here. All this space, this space is room for a retracement. The entire space here is room for retracement. If you want to have your trend line such that it extends by itself, you make sure you come to parameters and then you take ray right, then it extends to the right. Ray left also causes it to extend to the left. So that's how you do it. If you want to set it manually, you just untick both. Yes, your second question is that when detecting spikes on M1 time frame, I found it's better to find support in diagonal and in 3 drive pattern rather than the simple S and R pattern we use. Okay. Yeah. It's better to find them in diagonal. Actually, I realized Boom and Crash when it comes to finding support, trading for spikes, it's good to find them in diagonals. Even because most at times the market is moving in diagonals as compared to the normal horizontal support and resistance. So we are going to go through that shortly. Let me give you a tip on Crash 1000. This was going to happen in the coming days. Crash 1000 is going to crash like crazy, because you see, it's just like a catapult. If you want to shoot very, very far, what happens? You are going to push the pressure very far, towards you, and then you release. So the farther you push or you pull the catapult, the farther the stone is going to go. So if Crash 1000 starts to spike, we are going to have an avalanche of spikes. That's just a tip I want to give you. Okay, now this Crash 1000 is racing toward this resistance. It's going to come here and then start spiking downward. Now let me talk about Nasib's question. When detecting spikes, it's better to find them in diagonals. So let's look at something like, have you already looked at this? Let's look at another market. Good. Now this is simple to to get this horizontal support and resistance, and know that okay, this is a boom market, so it's going to boom from here. Now at this point, if you understand support and resistance and you've been trading boom and crash for a while, or any market, you'd know that right at this point, after the first close of the candle, after the first candle closes and the second one opens, at this point you are going to start trading spikes. You're going to trade for spikes. But remember, this point is the last peak. This is the last peak. This is the last peak. So if we pick a Fibonacci tool, Fibonacci retracement, we're going to draw from here to there to here to where we entered the market, and we are trying to say that okay, if the market is going to retrace, we don't believe that the market is going to retrace 100%. We don't believe the market is going to retrace from here. What am I doing? Hold on. We don't believe it's going to retrace 100%. Up to this point. Okay, that's personally, I don't believe most turns retrace 100%. Sorry. Personally, I would go for 30 from 23.6 to 61.8 levels. So if this spike is going to start to spike, I believe that it's going to probably end here and turn back again, or end here and turn back again, end there, turn back again, and at most end here and turn back again. But I don't believe it's going to hit 100 immediately. Even if it's going to do that, it doesn't do that in one shot. It's going to hit between 38.2, 50, 61.8, 23. So from 23.6 to 61.8, I believe the spike is going to retrace up to that level, then come back down again before it goes up. So to throw more light on Nasib's observation, let's take a look at this. Let me look for where there are spikes. Somewhere here. Now this, we know that all green candles are spikes, all reds are trending. So from here the market trends and starts to spike, then comes here and begins to spike. Immediately we have 2 points connecting, so we have our trend line here. Then the market spikes, comes here and starts to spike. So from here we are sure that we have 2 support points. So from here we can come in and trade for spikes after the first candle close. This is even H4. Okay, so let's look at H1. Somewhere here we can come in and trade for spikes. More technical outlook on Crash 1000. Adnan. All right, Adnan, you're welcome. You are not asleep at this time. The dollar is awake. You're welcome. So let's take a look at Crash 1000. Yes, crash 1000 is acting very weird. Now we have different support angles. Okay, I'm actually in a trade somewhere here on a sell on crash 1000. So currently I'm in a loss around this point. And the reason why I went for a sell here is, let's take a look at H4. Now I believe the closest resistance crash 1000 is racing toward is here. And when it hits this and is coming back, it's going to be an avalanche of spikes. Okay, it's going to turn back. Now if it bypasses this resistance, then it will be racing towards this resistance. Okay, let me clear these things and analyze them in terms of support. Nasib, thank you very much. Yeah, it's good to stay awake while the dollar is awake. Yes, Adnan, I'm also lost too. That's why yeah, so this was happening on crash 1000. We have a first support line. Let me put it here. So let me call this S1. Then we have a second support here, S2. Then we have a third one. Someone said crash 1000 is being manipulated. I really don't know about that. I don't know whether they, what do you think? Do you think Deriv intentionally manipulates the market? So this is what we have. Please let me know your thoughts in the chat box. So this is what's going to happen. If there is a retracement, let me claim my RSI and push this back. Do you see what's happening? There's a spike. So this is racing to hit this. Is racing to hit this. Let's check M1. Do you see what's happening here? Do you see what's happening here? 3 continuous spikes. What is it telling us on H1? It's telling us that this is racing to come and hit this third support. So the second support and the first support, S1 and S2, have become invalid because S3 has formed. And these spikes that have just started here are racing to come and hit this, because remember, they started moving from here, attempting, in fact they bounced here, went up, bounced here, went up, and they are trying to bounce here and hit this. So now S2, S1 supports are not valid. Currently the valid one is S3. Let me place it here correctly. This is what's going to happen. But the avalanche of spike is really going to begin when this S3 is broken. If this S3 is broken, oh la 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 la, the spikes are going to come in like rain. Because as I told you, when a catapult is pushed back, you know, the farther is pushed back, you know, the stronger the shot and the farther the shot. Yeah, so that's what's going to happen. It's going to come down for a while, and if it breaks this S3, oh la la, we are gone. That's what happened on crash 500. Now personally, crash 500 is my nightmare market. Is my nightmare market. I'm currently in 2 losses on crash 500 because a support was broken, and I mistakenly took a trade earlier than I should have. This is what happened on crash 500. This support was broken. This support was broken. 0.12 was broken. So from here it started crashing. Actually this was supposed to move up. This is where I entered the trade. When it bounced off, I entered a buy here and I set my TP somewhere here, because I knew from H4 that after a long trend it was going to go back up. So I set my TP somewhere here and I entered a buy. I entered a buy somewhere here. Buy. So I set my TP somewhere here. So my TP was somewhere here. This is where my TP was. But then the market got here. Instead of moving up to hit my TP, it retraced here and went down and hit this support, and I entered another buy. I entered another buy here, and I set my TP here. Okay, this resistance, I was using this as a supposed or an assumed resistance, so another TP was set here. But this is what happened. Guess what? It came up, retraced again, which meant that it had formed a diagonal resistance. Yes, a diagonal resistance here, and it came down. Guess what? And it broke the support. So I was in trouble. But I didn't close. You see where the market is currently. I didn't close because the equity was huge enough. So from here, it has broken this diagonal resistance, so it's going to go up. It has broken this diagonal resistance. It's going to go up and possibly hit my first TP. Then my former one would also be in profit, and I can close and wait till the market reforms. Please, do you have any other observations or questions? So you see how the technical analysis looks like. It can be really weird and can be very complex at times. And this is why personally I don't like to set my TP too far away. Personally, I don't like to set my TP. Now let me tell you what's going to happen if the market doesn't move up. This crash 500, because I just saw a spike here. If it doesn't move up immediately, it's consolidating, it's ranging. Let me go to H1 and show you what's going to happen if this doesn't move up. If this doesn't move up, this market is going to hit this line, this diagonal resistance. Put it here. Let me put it here. Let me call it diagonal resistance. It will hit here and then it will move up. That's what's going to happen. It's going to hit this line and move up. Nasib says, in M1, how do you recommend scalping for small candles? Great. I think most of us like to target M1 scalping techniques. So at this point, I'll delete everything on my chart. Usually what I do is I insert an indicator. Usually I trade price action, but if I want to scalp for little candles, you see crash 500 is spiking. It's going to hit the support, the resistance I showed you. Now usually when I insert RSI, I'm going to set it to 40, because RSI 40 hardly hits a 0 or 100, and you can go back and you check to see that it never hits. I've not seen it hit 0 or 100 before. It never hits 0 or 100. Do you see that? So Placaris, Denston Placaris says, happened to me this morning. What exactly happened to you this morning? I'd like to know. Yeah, so for scalping for M1 and M1, now this is crash 500. Okay, so what I'll do is usually I go for a sell here, 75 level for crash, and then if it's boom, I go for it at this point, 25. And at times I'm punished by the market, but eventually I know that with RSI 40 the market is going to retrace and cover me up. So for here I can stay here, and then I enter another buy when the RSI hits a level I feel like it's gonna, because when it goes below 25 I don't really have a strict rule, but I just go with, let's say, I enter another at 20 here, and eventually I know once it's RSI 40 it's going to retrace. If it's 14, I'm in trouble. But if it's RSI 40, I know it's never going to hit zero, so it's going to retrace and I'll enter back into profit. Then I also look at the action of the candles. For instance, I want to look for a solid good. What do you see here? You see a trend here, you see a consolidation. Then before the market actually rises, you see higher lows at this point. You see higher lows. You see higher lows at this point. Then you see higher lows here too. This point I will enter and trade for spikes. At this point I'll enter and trade for spikes. Once I see higher lows after a trend, after a long trend, usually after a long trend where you see higher lows, you know spikes are coming in. So from here, a long trend happens, then you see higher low, then you can enter and trade for spike. So enter. Now the reason why I'll enter here and I'll still be confident I'm going to catch spikes is because the market has trended for a very long time, and with my RSI 40 I know that at this point, once it hits this area, 25-30 level, I'm sure that a retracement is going to put me back into profit. So coming from here on this RSI level, I know that if I enter here, even when I've seen higher lows, I'm still going to capture some profit. I'm not going to be in a loss. Denston says I normally do the same, but I'm out at levels I've had marked out. All right. Yes. So usually my ideal signals that helps me to enter trades for spikes are when I see higher lows, or I see lower highs. Higher lows on boom market, lower highs on crash market. So I see a trend, I see a long trend, and I see this. Now at the end of this, I'll enter for spikes here, and I can catch these two spikes and I close. Usually I catch, on average, I always catch one spike and I'm okay, except in rare cases where I can catch, say, 3 to 4 spikes. Usually I catch one spike and I close because of false market signals. I just attempt to catch one and I'm okay. And at times when I get a good confirmation from H1, I can set a wide TP and catch more spikes. But I prefer to widen my TPs if I'm trading a trend than spikes, because a spike can occur and then the market goes back into negatives, a lot of negatives. So I just prefer to widen my TP if I'm trading a trend. Yes. So any other thing you want us to address? Any other questions? Okay, so as we analyzed on boom 1000, you see the market trending downward. Do you remember we talked about this support being broken, and then you see the market trending downward? Very, very, very simple. There are very few cases where the market actually gives you a false signal. Can you kindly specify which is going way down? Let's see. Is it crash 1000, boom 1000? What's happening? Let's see. Okay, boom 1000. Yeah. Yes. So as we spoke about, now boom 1000, even though it's going way down, now I can catch a spike here. I can catch a spike here. But the reason why I wouldn't trade a spike is because the market is actually supposed to trend down. So if you enter a spike, this is where you get into trouble. I remember I gave a signal on boom 1000, I think about 5 days ago on my page, and it took a long while before the market retraced because it has started trending downward. So I saw the mistake I'd made after I analyzed the market on H1, but I actually gave that signal based on M1. Do you see that it broke this? Once it breaks this, we should be cautious and realize that the market is going to trend down. It's going to trend downward. All right, Adnan says, should he enter the market now? Personally, I wouldn't enter this market because a diagonal support has been broken. So personally, I wouldn't enter. But at the same time, M1 is tempting because M1 on the RSI is even below 20. So if I'm going to go for a buy, I'll go with 0.2. I'll go with 0.2 lot size, just the least risk. Because if I go for 0.5 or 1 lot size, remember support has already been broken. So if I go for a large lot size, I might be in trouble. So I'll go for 0.2 if I'm going to buy on M1. Then I'll actually go for 0.2 just to be safe. So when I go for 0.2 here, I'm going to put my TP here and take one spike and I'm out. Because if this doesn't spike now and it trends down and your equity is small, oh la 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 la. To enter for a sell, wait, set a sell limit. Set a sell limit. You can set a sell limit somewhere here, such that if it spikes and it breaks, it will automatically start selling for you, because on H1 support is broken. Victor says, check crash 1000 please. Trade a trend. Yeah. In the longer run, trade a trend. Yeah, Nasib, you're right. Yes, that is why I attempted to trade the trend on crash 500 and it's disappointing me, but it will be back up because the equity can hold it. Okay, so Victor says crash 1000. Let's check. What about crash 1000? Okay, I did an analysis on crash 1000. I think you can go back to check because I've deleted the lines. I created 3 support lines. I created one here which was support 1, and I did support 2. Where was support 2? Support 2 was it here? What happened? I think I lost my then support 3 was here. Yes, I think this was it. Let me delete my indicator window. This is what we did. I think it's similar to this. Support 1, support 2, support 3. So this was S1 support 1, S2 support 2, and S3 support 3. So we were saying that this price will attempt to come and hit this support. From here it will attempt to come down. If it doesn't, it's going to go up again. If it doesn't, the candles are going to go back up, but eventually it will come down, and if it breaks this, then oh la 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 la, it's going to spike downward. Yeah, crash 1000 hasn't been spiking, I think for how many? This is serious. It's been, see today is 29th April, right? 20th April, it's been trending upward. No, wait, hold on. It's been trending upward since 12th April. Can you imagine? 12th April, crash 1000 has been trending upward. This means that if you entered a buy here and you never closed it, can you imagine how much you have now? And the funny thing is that the trades you leave to run end up in losses. But the trades you the trades you check often give small profits. Exactly. This is like cryptocurrency. Crash 1000 is behaving like cryptocurrency market. It's buy and hold. And then Nasib, your question was, should I wait one more hour? I think you were talking about the boom 1000. Should I wait one more hour? Now at this point, if you wait one more hour, the market might be retracing and attempting to break this support. That's the thing. So the good point to enter, okay, because you see there's a consolidation which has already proven to us that the market is not going to bounce back up, because there's a consolidation here for 1 2 3 4 5 6 hours. Then we have this, okay, this candle has closed below the diagonal support, so the opening of the next candle is a good entry point. So let me put this line here. I'll delete this line and leave this line here, and then switch to M1 and see where we could have entered. Okay, that means this is where we could have entered, right? But on M1 I will place a sell limit here above this line, such that when it spikes and hits my sell limit, it's gonna sell. But at the same time, you see it failed to spike just a little to hit my supposed sell limit, and it's still going down. At this point, I will not trade the trend. At this one, personally, I'll go for a 0.2 lot size in a buy. But if I have enough equity, I can sell and I don't care. It depends on how much I have. The funny thing is, demo accounts end up in profits, and real accounts, that's why I said it's as if someone is manipulating the market. It's as if someone is watching you every time you are placing a trade. I guess you saw the video I placed on the page. The guy who saw the market buying, immediately he entered the buy, started selling. So let's always, one thing we should always remember is that the market will always come with opportunities. There will always be opportunities in the market. There will always be another opportunity to buy, always another opportunity to sell. So if you miss one, don't worry, keep looking at the market in support and resistance analysis and enter when candles break lines and they close. Okay, Nasib said it won't hit the sell limit. I know it's going down. Yeah, at this point it looks like it's going to go down for a long time. At this point it looks going to go down for a long time. So boom 1000 used to be my best market until it started disappointing me. Now if I should insert my RSI 40, look at what it is, 13. This is a good buy point. This is a good buy. Usually when I see something like this, I would actually buy. I won't sell along. I only sell along somewhere here. Now here, after a very long spike that I know that this has broken the support, then I can sell here and I'm comfortable. But for something like this, I won't sell, because I feel like immediately I sell, there's going to be a spike. And what if that spike is going to lead to a retracement? That means I'm in trouble. Destin said, but I have good times with my analyzing. All right, so can you share with us some of your tricks? I think we can learn from you. What's your favorite indicator you use in helping yourself out? Mine is the RSI. I just rely on RSI 40. The rest is price action. The rest is price action. But for me, it has been a wonderful experience trading boom and crash. Overall, I can say I've been a very profitable trader on boom and crash. I'm referring to Denston said he has good times with his analyzing. Yes, and I was asking of his technique, the style he uses, and all that. And then I asked a general question, which your favorite indicator was. Mine is the RSI, relative strength. Stochastic, Ichimoku, RSI. Wow. Do you combine all of them? And also someone was saying that we could actually bring 3 indicators to confirm a strong buy or a strong sell. So let me add another one. Let me add, say, okay, so we have an oscillator. Let's add a trend indicator. Let's add one trend indicator, a moving average. Say a moving average of about 30, an exponential close. Okay. Let me increase this. They are too close to the candle, so let me make this 50. When they are too close to the candles, they give us signals of less weight. But when moving averages are farther from candles, they give us signals of more weight. Then I'll add another oscillator, the stochastic 533. Click OK. Then I'll add another oscillator of the Ichimoku. No, the Ichimoku. Where is the Ichimoku? That's a trend indicator. Let's maintain the parameters. Okay. Ichimoku is very scary. What we see here is a sell. Ichimoku is indicating a sell. How do we know it's a sell? Because the candles are below the cloud, the Kumo cloud. This is a sell. This is a sell. Okay. But good. I remember this. Now let's add MACD. Good. So MACD is telling us that there's going to be a buy soon, because MACD and Ichimoku are the only 2 indicators. Is there any other indicator? I'm not so sure if there's any, but they are according to the best of my knowledge, they are the only 2 indicators that actually can tell us what's going to happen in the future. Nasif says, have you tried gun fan with your scalping on M1? No, I haven't tried gun fan. Denston says, along with my EMAs, the rest is price action and volume. That's powerful. Volume, depth of market, and volume. I think I'll be working on that. I'll be bringing a video on that very soon. But for me, solely RSI and price action. So not to get sidetracked by what we are doing, now let's look at the MACD. MACD is going to buy very soon. So it's telling us that now these candles, let me delete my oscillator, my stochastic. So let's focus on Ichimoku, RSI, MACD. MACD is telling us from here, signal line is telling us there's going to be a buy. There's going to be a buy here in the future. Then, but you see, it hasn't yet formed buy signals, because buy signals are formed when these mainline candles, these blue ones, begin to reduce. It tells us that the intensity of the downtrend is calming down, and that is what causes the main line to reduce in candle heights until they cross this zero MACD level, this zero baseline. Adnan says mine is moving average. That's good. Yeah, magic bomb. Guys, you can also check out Adnan Global Access Forex YouTube channel, where he also shares strategies on trading boom and crash. So RSI is telling us there'll be a buy soon. Now this is crazy, 11 level, but I can assure you that this RSI 40 is not going to hit 0. At best it's going to reach 2 and spike. So RSI is deep in a sell. It's deep in a sell, 1111.8. So this is a deep sell, this is a deep sell, Ichimoku is a deep sell. So 3 indicators telling us there's a deep sell, and none of them is giving us a buy signal yet, except RSI 40 that looks as though it's going to spike very soon, because RSI 40 doesn't touch 0. This is why I rely on, not solely, but I rely to an extent on RSI 40. So if you are trading with RSI, I think within the first week of trading boom and crash, I was so excited. You know how when you find a source of income, you feel like, wow, this is going to make me a millionaire, and you go on the net, YouTube researching, and then you find people coming out with a lot of strategies that make $10 to $1 billion. You're like, wow, I'm going to be rich. My neighbors and my family are going to see how rich I'm going to be in the quickest possible time. Then you open one video that says RSI 14, sell, buy at 30, sell at 70. You're like, wow, this is it. This is the key to wealth. And then guess what? You are surprised by the market. You are shocked because you went for a buy when RSI crossed below 30, and now you are weeping because your account is in negatives. Yeah, Victor, we can talk after the live session. Send me a message on Telegram, t.me/DanielLegend. So what happened was, I was so excited when I started trading boom and crash, and then the market went RSI 14. This is why I vowed never to use RSI 14. It went to 0 for 30 straight minutes, and that blew my small account. Oh, I was so sad. In fact, I stopped trading boom and crash for a while because I felt like the only working strategy I'd found was a failure. Oh, okay, Victor, you mean Denston. All right, sure. Yes, so we see a deep sell on MACD. We have a deep sell here, we have a deep sell here, then we have a deep sell here because candles are below the Kumu cloud. And then another sign on the Ichimoku is that the lagging line has crossed below the candles, which also indicates a sell. Then our baseline, our conversion line, which is the red 9 exponential moving average, has crossed below the blue, which is the baseline, which is the 26 moving average. So what happens is going to be a sell. So we're in a deep sell. Seriously, we're in a deep sell. So if you had entered, let me delete this thing is too crowded and scary. So if you had entered a sell here and you left your trades running because this support was broken, then you're in a lot of profit. If only we knew such a trend would be occurring, I would have entered with 50 lot size. Yeah, but the market will always surprise. Deriv is watching you. You can enter with 50 lot size. They are watching you. They will manipulate the market. Okay, so basically I think I'll bring my analysis to an end until you guys have anything you want us to talk about. What's happening on Crash 500? Yes, this is the market. You see, it's trying to find the resistance here, at the same time consolidating here. but I don't want it to come down, because if it comes down, it would have to hit this resistance and then turn. It would hit this resistance and then turn back up. But I'm hoping that this thing is going to go up, because I need some TPs for this thing to hit. I have running trades currently in losses, so I need my TPs. But I'm very confident. I'm very confident on H4, because this market is going to go back up. So I'm not afraid, because on H4 I know this market will be going up because of the very huge. Now let me tell you something. If crash 500 starts to trend, it will be dangerous. This is where you should be trading the trend. If it starts to trend, starts trading the trend, because there's been a long, series of spikes. Like what happened here when it started trending here. This was dangerous. Now because of this long trend, that is why there's been a long series of spikes. Nasif, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I try to do my best. Okay, Denton, I think you can drop your Telegram link in the chat box so that Victor can have access to you. I think Adnan is sleeping at this moment. Yeah, there are 10 people in the chat box, but I think most of you have been quiet and just observing. I'll be glad if you introduce yourself. I'm looking to come up with a bot that trades with recoveries, or trades what we call hedging. So let's take a look at something like volatility 75. Now there's one crazy strategy I wanted to introduce to you guys. Why is this not moving? Okay, it's H4. Right. Let me use step index. That's more simple to understand. Step index. What happens on step index is that every move, every tick is 10 cents with the least loss size of 0.10. That's 10 cents. So what's happening on step index? Okay, so if I activate my one-click trading by pressing Alt T and I set this to 0.10, 0.10, and I go for a buy, I don't know why step index is not loading. What's happening? It's taking a while. Okay, let's talk about step index later on. All right, so at this point I'll bring the live stream to a close. Nasib has he has a question. Another question I had about boom and crash. Sometimes you can see an invisible spike. Why does that happen? And is there a loophole or something we can leverage? Yes, I can't really tell. I think it might be some sort of bug in the algorithm. My step index is now responding. But let's talk about that later on. I was going to show you a certain strategy I discovered. I will talk about that later. Yeah, so I think it's a lag it's a bug rather in the algorithm, but it still makes sense, in the long run. So it's not something they are really bothered about when it comes to correcting it. Okay, we've been streaming for an hour. I think if you missed a substantial part of the video, you can go back and check how we analyze the markets. and I'm sure you'll be able to grab something wonderful. All right, so I'm looking forward to also having a trend line series where I just teach trend lines, how to master it and all that. But that is also part of the future project. So guys, I would like for you to share this channel with your friends. Let's study Boom and Crash. Let's study, because I believe that when you study it, you become a pro at it. You see different dynamics of the market, you see different phases and seasons of the market movements, and you become more comfortable. There are certain kinds of trades. Wow, Boom 1000. There are certain kind of trades you enter and you are sure the market is going to go in a particular direction. Sometimes I enter trades not based on technical analysis, but based on experience and instincts, because I've seen these patterns repeat themselves. So I can get confident and I enter the market not because of any technical analysis I did, but because of experience and instincts. Yeah. So we have 9 here on the RSI 40. This thing is heavily trending. A friend of mine is going to earn so much on Boom 1000, because in the afternoon I was talking with him. No, it was even in the morning. It was in the morning. Yeah, around this point. We were speaking around this point when the market was somewhere here. I think he placed a sell somewhere here. He placed a sell somewhere here, and he put his TP around this point. So he picked profit around this area. I think he went with 0.2 lot size or so. So it was something, like $10 to $15, yeah, in one trade. And I think that's cool. That's cool. I once read a blog where someone in Brazil said they earned $35 on the cryptocurrency market and they were sorted for the month. So if someone was sorted for the month with $35, I mean, earning $10 to $15 in one trade is something that means it can even carry you half a month, right? Yeah. So Destin says, thanks, you helped out a lot along my journey. I'm not a master yet, but one day. Yes. Yeah, we are still practicing and heading toward the expert. Sometimes when people hear expert advisor, they feel like I'm an expert. No, I'm not an expert. Expert advisor simply means robot, trading robot. Okay, so we are heading towards expertise, having expertise in Boom and Crash. And very soon you'll be able to handle the market, and you can manage people's accounts. You can do account management, you can give signals and all that. Yeah. So practice with demo, master, and then in the future you'll be managing $10,000. Because I didn't start at this point. Managing a $600 account and earning $200 in a week. I mean, more than $250 in a week. It was a great achievement for me. Yeah, so we'll be closing soon. Thank you very much for joining this stream. I really appreciate your presence. Some of you gave up your sleep just to join and see what's going on. Boom 1000, won't you spike? Oh no. So thank you very much. Sometimes I speak to the market. Like, why are you behaving this way? Thank you very much for joining the stream. It's 12:43, so 12:43 a.m. in Ghana. So the rest of you, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. A good morning to everyone, and bye.